Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give the opening for you with Machi the song this morning. And first of all, we're going to thank you all for coming tonight. There we go. All right, one thing I get to share with you yesterday is a spiritual way of believing. So later I want to share something like that with you. Last night we had a good history of Canada. There's a lot of people that didn't know anything about that peace wing. So I want to tell you a story about that peace wing. When it's kind of went down to what I just did with this church. That's kind of want to share with you today. Thank you. I mean, great way to start the songs in the morning there. Oh man, lift me up, lift our spirit up. This morning, we're going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. No, just joking. About yesterday and what are we going to do today? Plans of action just today. What are we going to do? So before we get started, Chief is in town here, so I'm going to open it up. Good morning, everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces here. And it's nice to see everybody. If anything, it's good for all of us just to meet up. All of us to have breakfast and come together for something that's happening, not just a funeral or a wedding. That's another thing. But it's really good that we're all come together, and language and culture is very important. And I think we have to understand that it's gotta go on for generations to come. I understand every word of Hebrew, even the old Hebrew, but I don't speak it. It's really sad that, and I'm 43, so I'm 2 generations back. So that's a sad thing, but I'm slowly, it's coming back to me. And the odd word comes out as fluid. But I think we really need to gather together and figure out a way for all of us to teach our kids that are coming out, whatever culture you have, should we talk to the next generation or else we'll lose it. Again, I want to thank you for coming, and whoever traveled from afar, safe travels, and I appreciate you guys coming out and gathering together. Thank you. Oh, we lost our MC. Oh, sorry. We have the mayor of Fort St. John here, our local town. Yeah, local. We have quite a few other teams too from Lombard. Notice, and it's nice to see everybody come together. Who's taking the mic today?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. It's wonderful to be here, Chief, with your council and the elders. I'm sorry I couldn't have been here yesterday. I understand you had a wonderful time. So when I think about my culture, I'm half Scottish and half Ukrainian. And so I call January my cultural month because I start January with Ukrainian Christmas and I wrap it up with Robbie Birdie's Day, where I get to eat haggis. So haggis and bannock for me are fabulous. So I was in Toronto yesterday, and I can't tell you how wonderful it is to come home on the airplane and break through the clouds and see this territory. This is remarkable. So thank you for looking after this land for so many years, and I look forward to being your neighbor for many, many more. We are really excited in the city of Fort St. John to work with the Denizah people on the visibility project. I'm sure over the next months or even years, you're going to see a lot more. If you go into our airport, We already have some significant additions to the airport, including the drum that is suspended from the ceiling. Our cultural center has some beautiful artwork. We're looking forward to some more remarkable things happening. And we will be there every step along the way to make sure that that happens. So I have a challenge for you. I can't say that I can't speak a word of Ukrainian, but every Canada Day, I'm expected to get up in front of my community and speak in English and in French, because the federal government requires that I do that. And so I can do that. But my request to you is to help me over the next year, so that when I get up at Canada Day next year, I greet my community in English, French, and Denizab. On that challenge, it apparently will not be the 43-year-old, and I'm older than that. But we'll work on that. Thank you very much. Safe travels.
Thank you. I just wanted to say a few other things. I think how to push your culture, everybody has their local talent. And you have to have a relationship with your neighbors, your local municipalities and things like that. You need to bring your culture into those towns. You have to do the opening as your territory. Even in municipalities, you have to open up for events. Canada Day, we're very active in our local municipality. And I think it shows. We're part of the parades. We push culture all the way. There's photographs going back, I think, 15 years or something like that. We had our first floated. It was a trailer. I can't remember if anybody remembers that, but just be part of your local towns. Push your culture out, and it won't be forgotten. A lot of times there's non-natives that want to be more native than us. They even learn our languages. There's a guy that makes carved signs. His name is Melba Simon. Dajagan, we call him Dajagan, woodpecker. And Dajagan learned our language off of our alphabet book and speaking with elders. And I think he did it over about maybe 5 to 10 years, something like that. But he came here, he got introduced to our community, and he was part of it. So somebody to take our culture and embrace it like that, it's a powerful thing. And we take things for granted all the time. When we look at our culture, we should. It's a unique thing. We should really embrace our culture a lot more. So be part of your local towns and be out there. Be proud of who you are. Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you. My name is Trevor Murphy, Chief of Beaver First Nation. I'm like Chief Trevor McAday here, and I've been doing this now for 6 years, Chief, and 8 years total. And it's I've been a lot of places where it's the chief's job takes you to many places. In a lot of those places, it's you'd much rather not be there. Because you have community events, and you have a lot of different things on your mind. But as soon as we heard about the Joy Assembly here, we wanted to make a good attempt to come and support the Native people, the Native people, and our brothers and sisters over here. I've always heard a lot about Joy from the First Nation, and a lot of our elders have told us that we want to connect with your language to come up to the BC area, so that's why we're here. We noticed that there is some support for First Peoples Cultural Council there, for the province. We have our own support to, do our own to the province and the federal government. But what we have to do is tie them together, regardless of where the money's coming from, and regardless if money's coming or not, we still have to tie each other together. I notice a lot of our people have examinations of the people in the area too. It's nice to see. I also noticed that our elders really connected with the elders here immediately. Like, it was commented before, it's universal once you know the language. I'm not lucky enough to know my super language. I actually hear it too much growing up. I hear it a lot more now than I've done than I have in the past. And, it's like mentioned before, it's like a real good. It's scary. When you go through the statistics in Alberta, we're the nation that's supposed to be the same 50%. So out of 500 people, we guess how many speakers that we have that identify as speakers. I don't know where this is going to lead. I'm hoping that we'll come back next year and support the program, and also we'd like to have an event next year. We'll probably do Teacher Day, because you guys will enjoy days like this. And we want to make sure that an invitation comes to your nation to come out and see how we live and how we change and try to get people together. And that will go to the neighboring nations as well. And if you have events that you feel that we should be part of, like get invited. Also, the gathering of October, how do we, I think it's a huge benefit. We'll be doing our best to take our elders and some younger elders to the event. It's going to be important for all of us to be there to support each other and recognize that we are the true land owners. We own this land. Land is ours, and we have to come together and make sure that the government recognizes that without us and without treaty, they would have no access to this land. So, when we're doing CPD entitlements, we're actually using the same lawyer as Joy, she's a real advocate. So, we have a lot of connections that we're not aware of. So, very proud to be here. I'm very proud that our members of the here and see Joy and the beautiful country that we live in, and I think we're blessed. You have a beautiful river flowing, our rivers are drying up. So we have real issues up there. And once again, I'd like to thank you for being invited and for getting invited as well.
Yeah, I think I'm inviting all the chiefs and councils up to say a few words, and former chiefs and whoever will come and say a few words here.
I'd just like to thank everyone and Joy and the Chief of Council for this opportunity to be here. This gathering was really important for our council, and I'm happy to say we have Councillor Morgan, Councillor Tricia Capelite, Councillor Harvey Main, and Councillor Curtis Dickey over here. And we also have some members, Talia and Kathy, so we're really, and Richard, and there's probably a few more I missed you, but just really happy to be here. And just with the work that the first people of Cultural Council is doing, really look into the material that we're presenting here, because there's a lot of great opportunities and a lot of funding that can go for your communities with the programs they offer. We recently received a grant from their organization, and we're really excited to say that on September 9th to the 14th, we're having a language camp at one of our traditional places. It's called Snake River. We built a cabin there, and we set up tents. There's places to camp. We just recently had our cultural camp there. It was a fish camp. So we had some youth there drying fish, and we all do what we all do in the bush, and eat moose meat. And there's lots of porcupines this year and lots of rabbits this year, so those are yet to be enjoyed also. Just with the gathering that's going to happen in Calgary, I hope that we're able to bring a lot of the elders here today, but also include our youth, because I think it's important that we have our little ones running around and just, while they're playing, it doesn't look like they're paying attention, but they are listening. And it's really powerful for them to grow up like that, to hear what's being discussed in these rooms, because there are going to be our future leaders. And they need to see us getting together and having conversations like this. We need to empower them and share this knowledge with them and so they can carry it forward. What I've learned here yesterday was been so amazing. Like hearing the stories, going to, I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but going to Kema, the camp there, and just listening to the stories that were being told around the fire. And all the work that the chief and council are doing is just absolutely amazing by even pulling this together and bringing us together. Sharing the traditional medicines, like thank you to the land staff. You guys are awesome. Like that just touches my heart. And you gave us ideas. You know, now we have to go home and laminate those and share them with you when you get back. And this is what it's really about, is getting together and just talking about what's on our mind and working together through issues. And I just see so much opportunity when we do things like this. And, I care about what happens to our kids, and I know you guys care about what happens to our kids, and you start worrying a little bit more as soon as you have kids, and you realize how important it is to do this kind of stuff. So I just wanted to say, Nazu, thank you. This has been really good. And I look forward to today. We're going to learn a lot about each other. So, masicho.
Anybody else want to come up and say a few words? Okay, well, we'll continue. Anytime you want to say something, come up and get my attention. Oh, there we go.
I just wanted to, Councillor Curtis Dickey with FNFN. I just wanted to take a minute to describe how important the drum has been on my journey. I played hockey a lot of years, and after hockey tournaments, we would always go and have a good time, and alcohol was always a part of that. And when I picked up a drum, there was nobody in our community that drummed. 5 years ago, we were going to have a hand games tournament at our annual celebration. We never had one team sign up. So I knew at that moment that the drum was completely gone in our community. And there was an empty feeling. I left the annual celebration, and I was disheartened that we weren't going to have a hand games tournament that weekend. That was an indication that it was gone. So that's when an elder told me, you have to travel around each community, play hand games, drum for them, support them. And when you have a tournament, they will come and support you. So I want to, the reason why I'm saying this is because I know you guys, Sam and Gary, you guys are, the songs that you sang, there was twice yesterday where I heard their songs. And the way that they sing their songs, they don't sing it the way we do. We sing really loud, lots of energy, lots of power. But for some reason yesterday, the way that they sing their songs, it had me get emotional. It had me tear up a couple times. And I think that's just the power of those songs. The drum, that's what all First Nation communities across Canada have in common, is that drum. So I just want to encourage you guys to start pushing those young people, start pushing them towards the drum. Tell them that don't be scared of the drum's power, because that is the heartbeat of our people. So I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say, really happy to be here. You guys have a beautiful territory. In the years that I lived in Fort St. John, I never did make it out here, so I was really happy to be here this weekend, really happy to drum for the people. It was amazing to see everybody laughing and dancing last night. And as the sun was setting, it was a special night. So I just wanted to share that about the drum and how we brought it back to our community. It's taken 5 years, and now we have all these little ones coming up drumming. You know, in 5 years' time, we're going to have a whole bunch of drummers. And you know, it's tiring. It's a lot of work to get. It took a lot of work to get to that point, but you know, it's definitely paying off now. So I just wanted to say that. I want to say thank you to Joy, Chief of Council. I want to say thank you to Gary. He's been doing a bang-up job here facilitating, and I look forward to the day. Must Joe.
Thank you very much. Raymond Ackley, you guys know him? He's one of the, huh? Yakalaya. That's a beautiful name, Yakalaya. He wanted to really come here, but he had to do some medical testing, something was up. So, but he called me this morning to find out how it all went, and I said it went amazingly great for people that were here. He really wanted to be here. He wanted to me to read this to you because he is one of the guys that our original meeting about the Dene unification was invited to come to Tene in the spring of February, I believe, or March somewhere. That's when it all started, and then we said, okay, well, for us to get ready for that, we need to have a meeting. This is the meeting that we're having. So when we do go on the international level, how are we going to present ourselves? So last night, I had an opportunity to dance. And one of the things that I really noticed is that once you start dancing, it's like you're in a river. You get suspended in spirit, and then you just keep moving. It moves you. So even if you wanted to stop, it just moves you because all the people are getting that energy together. That's what Dene is about. When we have that energy that moves us in a good way. That is really what I noticed last night when I went up there to start to dance, and then everybody joined in, and that beautiful power of love and tenderness, and that's what I felt yesterday. All of you dancers probably felt the same way too. So here's a text here from Raymond. To all, I have been given a lot of thought about the vision we are trying to achieve for our people. We are at a critical time in our people's history, and a wake-up call for all of us as we look at ourselves now and the generation yet to be born in the future. Many years ago, when we realized how big our nation is, we became aware of the great cultural loss, such as the Dene tribes becoming extinct because of being hunted and murdered by American gold miners in the Oregon and Washington state for gold and land. Our people were attacked at night, murdered, and their homes burned, and the survivors driven into the forest homeless. This is a great tragedy of our history of Pacific Northwest coast. They had no one there to help them in a time of danger and need. We all have lived through our traumatic times, ourselves with residential schools where the Roman Catholic mistreated us and treated us with and tried with some success to destroy our language and culture. The Canadian government has also funded many of these injustices against our people, but we should never forget that. At the end of the day, I like to say to see our people, north, south, all directions, come together in a single international united Dene nation or confederacy, or whatever we want to call it. It represents all of us with a single voice to address the challenges and the issues of common concerns facing our people now and into the future. We must combine our energy, talents towards protecting and promoting Dene culture, language, spirituality, history, and the lands. We must strengthen unity among all the Dene people to reach out, to get to know each other as people. When we do that, we can get to know ourselves. When the Creator made us, He made us together, and now we must make our way to each other as one people. No more strangers to each other. We must also protect the gifts we have. They have given us our spirituality, our language, our music. We must remember that we are the largest nations in North America continent in 4 countries: Canada, United States, Russia, and Mexico. Other tribes and people are watching us as we take the lead in this unification. This has never been attempted before. We must do it right, but we must give concerns and hopes for future generations. We must bring all the Dene relatives together, as everyone is important to our nation in what they think and what they have to say. My grandparents used to love to see our people play drums and dance together in the strength of us coming together. I say a prayer for everyone to have a good meeting as we build bridges to each other and think of our people as our nation. This is the beginning. Asi. Very, very inspiring to hear that kind of words from people that really do care about where we're going and what we're doing. Today, in our council, in our community, we are, our mission is to be kind and inclusive community. Through that kindness, we reach out our hand, following the principle of our ancestors who say that if somebody comes to you, walk them in a good way, help them out. So these are the kind of principles that leads us to tools of how we're going to work. What are the tools today that we're going to harness? So to get that conversation going, I want to bring the First People Council up here to talk about some of the cultural tools and languages and all the different beautiful things that the best practices of culture, languages, and how we're going to teach it. That is the big thing. The transfer of knowledge between elders and youth is our greatest challenge right now. How are we going to do it? Because some people say that the young people don't listen. Some of them actually don't. But there is others that actually do listen. They're too busy with their Facebook and their other things, right? But if that's the case, it's up to us to be creative. We're not dead yet. We are very creative people. We can be creative and do something else to make sure that we pass it on. So with the tools available right now, our First People's Council is going to present something.
Thank you very much for allowing us into your house this morning. Thank you for allowing us in Machtakshiklitz and Ha'okwaknuka. Thank you for feeding us all. Thank you for feeding our Tetmaksti with your vision, your hope, your dreams, your desires. First People's Culture Council has a number of tools. I do have, I'm just going to put this down over here. And there are strategies in British Columbia that are working. We are creating, different communities are creating new speakers. So in order to create new speakers, younger speakers, people to carry forward the visions that have come to us through our community, through our elders, through our dances, our prayers, our songs, our time out on the land. In one of the areas in one of the nations in the Soquetman speaking people, they have Chief Tom School is an immersion school that grew out of a language nest. When I say the words language nest, has anybody heard those words before? Language nest? A language nest is just a natural family environment where children are exposed to the language on a daily basis, an hourly basis, It's 2 or more fluent speakers working with 1 or 8 children in their environment, and they go through the day just the way you were raised, the things that I've heard you talk about over the last few days, just learning and living the language. You live every day with a group of children with the intention of exposing them to the sounds and the actions of the language. So language nests are one of those tools that you can use to have children intentionally exposed to your language, your way of thinking, your way of doing things. So the language nest was the foundation for the Chief Tom immersion school. And that immersion school grew from the nest when the children were old enough and they became kindergarten age. The mom and the aunties and the grandmas, they also became certified teachers, and they moved with the children, and they're up to grade 9 now, I believe. And the children who started out in those immersion schools learned all subjects, because everything can be learned in language. It doesn't need to be a topic, doesn't need to be taught as a subject, but everything can be learned. And so they say that they're K to 7. Those kids who graduate from their immersion school, because they're bilingual, they have higher level thinking. So they go into the high school and they graduate from high school university ready. So we have children who have higher level thinking because they are bilingual. And so that is one strategy. The language nest moving into the immersion school. And your conversation with each other about reforming your schools. I was asking, where do your kids from this community, where do they go to school? And where do they go to high school? And as you reformat, you have the basis of what you need to succeed already in this community. So, and I think that is true for most of our Indigenous communities in British Columbia. We have what we need to succeed. We just need to add the belief to it. One of the other tools and strategies is the apprenticeships, the Master Apprentice program. So if I say master or mentor apprentice, has anybody else heard that? In this community, so you're a mentoree down there, mentor apprentice, Billy. Okay, Billy attempted to do their mentor apprentice program as well. So a mentor apprentice is just the way. Oh, I saw a couple other hands. Thank you. Great. So mentor apprentice is pairing up people together for the purposes of living in the language and daily conversation. So driving into Walmart, shopping, bringing things home, going for a walk on the river, going to harvest resources along the riverbank and in the forest. So it's actual daily activities that the apprentice learns. You learn to retain the language and create a series of survival phrases. So survival phrases are phrases to help you come back into speaking in the language and retaining language through daily conversation. So, keep going. Getting the nod here. So a mentor apprentice is, in that program, you spend 300 hours per year for 3 years. The First Peoples Culture Council program of Mentor Apprentice provides a stipend for the apprentice, but also for the speaker. And then provides a small allowance for going out into the community, either gas money or meal money to eat in a restaurant. That process and way of doing things has a booklet, and that's online. So for those who are tech savvy and outside of the province of British Columbia, a number of First Nations have downloaded and used those resources all across the country and in fact internationally. One of the other strategies is helping those who understand and fluently can hear the language in their mind, but they don't yet speak it. So First Peoples Culture Council has implemented a course and a program called Silent Speakers. Silent speakers are people who can hear, know, think, and reason in their own language, but they have something that prevents them from actually speaking in the language in their daily lives. So it's a course that is set up by a group of people that has a clinical counselor and a facilitator and a language expert. So that team works through a series of 10 weeks of overcoming challenges, whatever barriers come up for individuals to speak language and to use language on a daily basis. It's a course that's designed to support and give individuals tools to overcome the challenges they face as they're working to share and live into their own languages. Currently, we have 10 groups in the province of British Columbia that are implementing the silent speaker program. Okay?
When we left up north, we do things so different than down south. So what we do is we do different up here, and then down south they do like fishing, all those things one-on-one.
So he's talking about doing things different in the north than it's done down in the south. Absolutely.
We all do different on the pension because when we live far north, we don't have fish down here. When we're teaching the student or just one-on-one for so many hours, you teach one student until you finish with her. But down south they do differently. They dry fish, they fishing, and we're letting dry meat over here. Just the way how we used to live by the whole ways, we can keep our fish like that. The only thing is how we grow up, how we live, how we keep them veteran pension. But they're doing better just about all over. That's the only thing is God stick with one student for so many hours. Okay.
Thank you, Billy. For sure, when First Peoples designs and implement programs, we have to make sure that we're aware that there are 204 First Nations in British Columbia, and everybody does things different. So we really look for tools that from other places on the planet where we can apply some of the principles, but the actual methods that are used come from the community. So it's really important that we don't always import all things, but some things that are proven that are creating new speakers are these particular programs. So for sure you have to do and adapt whatever tool you take to make sure that it meets the needs of the way that you do things and the way that you think about things. I want to tell you about one more thing, and then Catherine will talk a little bit more about a couple of the other tools. So the other thing is there's a Squilets has a language house. And in this language house, they pay the apprentices that are learning the language, and they pay the mentors who are teaching the language. They pay people to go there 2 days a week, 8 hours a day, to be immersed in language and learning how to learn language. So they're doing it in immersion, and then they're also going out into the community. So that is one of the methods, one of the tools is is creating that specific space where people go with the only intention to learn and use language, and then be able to take that language out into the community. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to tell you a story. My mom was fluent in and she actually didn't really speak English till she was in her late 20s. And so we grew up in a home where all we heard was Bennett. Before we went to residential school, all we heard was Bennett. But my mom, there was a real disadvantage. She found there was a real disadvantage not being able to speak English. She couldn't go to the store and order milk or ask for milk. She couldn't do these things. So there was a real disadvantage that she felt was a disadvantage not being able to speak English. So what she didn't want us to be disadvantaged, because if you can't speak English, you can't get a job, this, you can't do that. So, when we say that we grew up in homes that were fluent, but we can't speak it. Again, that's why it was seen as it wasn't valuable. The language was not valuable in today's world. So I think the very first step that's required before we start using all these tools is the First Nations to say, well, we stand up and say, our language is valuable, we're going to do whatever we need to protect it. So number one, we have declaration. Make that declaration. You need to make that declaration. You say, our language is important, our language is valuable. We need our language. We're going to do whatever we can to make sure our language grows. And again, First Peoples, we have a number of tools that can help. As Vicki described, the mentor apprentice, the language mess. Chief Trevor was talking about growing up and hearing the language but not being able to speak it. That's the silent speaker program that we have. We have these tools to assist. And Gary is very much into the digital age. So we have grants to digitize the language, to preserve it in the future. And we have that. There's just a number of grants that have just been announced, and we talked about it yesterday, the digitizing grants. So a lot of our communities, we have stories on tape or cassette, with traditional land use cards and all that. So now there's grants that were just announced. I'll let you tell you about the moms, all the moms, so she knows that stuff. But in terms of taking those stories and digitizing it, so there's grants there for that. There's the First Peoples that you can record your language. So these first voices, you know how kids like apps and all that type of stuff. You can actually have apps that are things that are in your language. So there's lots of tools that the First Peoples Cultural Council have been available. And again, it is just for BC, but on the website there's great resources for anyone. Language Net, how do you start a language net? What can you do in a language net? Master Apprentice, what activities you can do? Culture camp, immersion camp, what can you do? So those resources are available online for everyone. So I'll just pass it back to you in terms of more detail from grants.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for making that statement about what's important. The very first step is declaring. So I really, I'm glad to do that. Thank you. When you're ready for the specifics, you can go to the website. The digitization one is between $10,000 and $100,000 for 2 years. The gathering and sharing grants is currently open, and that's $15,000. That's getting your neighbors together to figure out how are you going to advance your goals as a region for your language family. And then coming soon will be the Language Revitalization Planning Program. This will be a planning program where nations can hire an individual specifically to scope out all of the options for revitalizing your specific dialect or your specific language or your whole language family. So it could be an individual that is funded to go and help make that overall business plan for your language investments. So the BCLI and the ALI, British Columbia Language Initiative, whatever you feel you need to do for your communities, you put it into that. That's an open door for how you see revitalization needs to be done for your language. And same with the ALI, that's a federal program. Federal programs always come with a little bit more reporting requirements. And we're really working hard to decrease the amount of time people are spending reporting how they spend provincial money or federal money, and try to increase access to results. How many speakers are you creating? And my apology, I did see your hand back there.
Hello. I had a question, and I was going to wait until you guys were done and go talk to you private, but I think it's kind of relevant to other nations in the room. I just recently got hired on as the cultural coordinator for FNFN, and I was reading through the proposals and the grants that we've applied for, the silent speaker program. I can't remember the other three off the top of my head, but there's 3 programs that we're chasing, and I think we've got approved for 2 of them. And I was reading through them, and I was starting to do some of the planning for some of the workshops, like we're going to do some drum making workshops and trapping and stuff like that. And we were going to do it in Denny, but our community is Cree and Denny. So I didn't want to leave the Cree behind, and because we have Cree blood in us as well. My grandpa had some Cree blood in him too, so obviously I would love to learn that language as well. My grandpa, he could speak Beaver, he could speak Dene, he could speak Cree, he could speak French. So I mean, I think, I guess I need to know how we incorporate both with the funding that we get. Or do we get double the funding? But that was just a question, and I thought maybe it might be relevant to some of the other nations in the room. Sometimes we do have Cree that have come into the communities and now are part of our communities. So I just wanted to put that out there.
So I wish I could say, yeah, double your money. And I think it wasn't until 2004 actually that the PC decided and recognized, directly chose to recognize Cree as an Indigenous language of British Columbia. So because it is recognized within an organization, the way the grants are currently structured, sometimes it's per nation. But with the Mentor Apprentice, you can have, it's really individually driven. So if an individual or a couple of people who want to begin to transfer the language back and forth, then those individuals can apply, in addition to the nation applying for various strategies. So the nation applies for some of the strategies. Mentor Apprentice is one of those things that you do as individuals. As silent speaker, if you have a silent speaker course, the course is not a language course per se. It's a strategies course, how to move aside the barriers that prevent you from using your language. So that is not dialect or language specific. It has to do more with your headmarks and your inner being specific. So how to move some of those challenges aside so you can move forward and use your language on a daily basis. So the silent speaker program is one of those ways to create community collaboration. And I think in what Kathy was saying is those declarations, it's a declaration and it's a decision, it's a community process. How are we going to integrate all of those dialects or all of those languages that currently reside? So on the Nutrilab, we have a process and a way of, we've got a cohort of 25 people, 5 dialects, 10 nations. We've come to a decision that our language, regardless of the dialect, is more important than our differences. So when we come to that decision about what's important is the essence of the language and the information contained within the language, not our differences. In that way, we've been able to create a cohort and a collaborative movement forward. So I think those kind of discussions and decisions around language differences and strengths, When you have more than one language, you have more strength. So any questions or comments or, yes?
Good morning. Anytime you graduate from Beaver First Nation, listening to yesterday what the programs you guys have here in BC, we don't have those in Alberta, and I heard somebody say yesterday that some of the programs don't, the funding doesn't go from Alberta to BC. Now, there are many Beaver nations in Alberta. How do we go about working together when we don't have the funding agreements that you guys have? And the governments don't understand that overlapping traditional areas and stuff. They don't have borders. Language don't have borders. But the funding does. There's a big gap there that we have to work out and before we really 100% work together. I know we're going to work on our side, Alberta side. We really want to work with the start off with that happening on that maybe.
Thank you. I know that one of the things that Earth People constantly does is tries to make tools that are applicable and usable everywhere. So all the tools, the manuals, the booklets that we create, they can be downloaded for free. Because we want to share our information with each other, we want to collaborate. You're right, the borders, money has borders, people don't. And so that's why when we create a new tool, we try to make it available on the internet for free. And the information that's shared from various communities is collated into those books. So you have the stories and the methods and the ideas from other nations, and those can be implemented. And what I have seen in other areas, because the languages all around British Columbia do border international borders, so what has happened in the past is some people who've gotten gathering and sharing grants, they've invited their relatives. So the people in British Columbia do the proposals and they bring in people, their relatives from across borders. So in Port, up in Terrace, where they have, Kitchikan, Alaska, there's a number of Tsimshian-speaking people from there, and really important speaking people. We're on some of the Sunset Hub, some of our people, so bringing those people across the border, taking care of their travel, their accommodation, and then bringing them to BC so that they can share what they have, has been one way that we have been able to support cross-border involvement. So that's one solution, and then again, just that collaboration and pressure on governments. Because this land, now Canada has an act respecting Indigenous languages. That was passed on June 21st. Did you guys know that? Have you heard that before? So there's a national act respecting Indigenous languages, and it got royal assent on June 21st, 2019. What that's going to mean for all of our nations is there should be, ideally, some mechanism for funding to flow to communities for language families that are across provincial boundaries. So because there's new act, there's new legislation in Canada, how it rolls out hasn't fully been designed yet. So if there's a need for working between provinces, because language families go between provinces, I think working with the language commissioner to say this is a criteria, that the borders between provinces shouldn't prevent us from working together. So that's one political piece, I think, that some of the politicians can really push forward into those venues and say this is the criteria we want to have as we roll out the money for them.
I guess maybe closing. So just in terms of your question, I think what I heard Gary saying, the intent of this is to come together and start figuring out, okay, we're going to work together, how are we going to work together? So maybe there's things in Alberta that we can't access in BC, and vice versa. So maybe there's a way to work together and make those declarations and action. So,
because I work with organized power, I have a question, and that's one of my dreams is to break in the local languages, there's Cree, Beaver, there's also English. So what I'm thinking is, I do know about the Aboriginal Cultural Council. I know they have a lot of funding. I've been trying to do that for years, but I just didn't have enough support to do this. So, but now, since I got hired by Northside Scholars, like the Aboriginal Grad Coach, I would like to see, is there a possibility I could talk to the Aboriginal department at the college, and maybe we can get some kind of, I can even work on a proposal. Maybe we can build something for St. John where everybody can make a program where every whoever wants to go in there. I'm sure a lot of people would love to learn English. Like even our Samoanists, they can even talk their language. So that's what I'd like to do. So if we could do that, that would be great. I'll give you my business card.
So just an experience that we have.
Hello?
Oh, I can hear, but I can't see. Oh, Billy. And I'll get back to your question. I've got some suggestions for you. Yeah.
I have a question here. Did you still have common version, like six student notes? You don't talk to this street either for 2 weeks. I was just wondering if those people still got it on. The other one, I'm not sure. Did some of the students, did they finish or did they drop off on you, or there's lots of time getting too hard for them? When the phone gets tough and the talk gets going, they quit on it. And then, well, if the student quit on you, and then what happened is you already job. What happened? So, you have to guarantee if the student really wants to learn this great take them all over in the bush, what kind of trees is this? This is awful tree, this is birds, what awful, what's on trees, what's on, all of this. They can learn that easy, but as long as they don't drop on you, that's all I
okay, I think that's almost, so I'm a past, politician, I've been in the second time, so, okay, so this is, so my suggestion is that there needs to be real political pressure put on the provincial government, the federal government, real capital pressure that enough funds are set aside for our students, because our students need to be supported. Our students have bills to pay, they have things like that, so students need to be supported. One thing that's in the Picton Indian Band, what they have is they have their, they're looking for twice a week full time, and they can again, they're supporting the program because they not shows the dedication, shows the dedication, value our language, support, we're going to support our students. Because we have all these tough struggles, all of the challenges, but again, what it comes to is that councils have to really pressure, they have the body, the government, to get our language revitalization recognized and properly supported.
So in order to get proper support and resources, it's really important to put together a business plan essentially for your language revitalization. Specifically to your question about working with institutes, post-secondary institutes. So what we've done in other countries is we use the Aboriginal Service Plan funding. We've got support from the communities to advance the certificate of language proficiency. There's a consortium in British Columbia of all higher learning IALAs. You know what that word is, IALAs, the Indigenous Higher Learning Institutes. So the Indigenous Higher Learning Institutes have formed a consortium and pushing all post-secs in the province to create these certificates of language proficiency. The certificates of language proficiency are accredited, and because they're accredited, then you can have your students with a full living allowance and tuition and books paid for. And then also tutorial paid for, and the tutors can be the community elders and speakers. So there's a whole construct there of funding, federally and provincially, that's also coupled with tribal initiatives to be able to create new speakers using post-sec programming. And it's one of the things that I've attended to in our community for our people, and really looking at how do we move this post-secondary and actually give honorary degrees to our elders who are the actual professors and pay them appropriately. So we're just on the cusp of having made that happen. So I'm happy to spend time one-on-one with you and anybody else that's working with the post-sec to get you hooked into that process of working with the Northern Lights and others, also the Tanaka work with Northern Lights. They're interested in the same thing. So Northern Lights has been one of those colleges that has that flexibility and willingness. They have administrators that have willingness, and that's, I think, to getting movement on in an area. The same with the superintendents and your local schools. And pushing those people to fulfill the obligations they already have. And it's not new work, it's old work that they need to fulfill those obligations to make sure that our children have access to their language and their land. So, anyway, you got me on that soapbox here.
Thank you very much. Give them a hand, ladies and gentlemen. I see Blueberry's Youth, are they here? I understand Blueberry's Youth is coming in. Come on in there, don't be shy. I think one of the main things that I've heard about this language business is that we need to be able to use all multiple forms. Our ancestors used to speak many languages. So we need to embrace that idea. Yes, the language really is about higher learning or alternative multiple perspectives. What that gives us is the ability to think in different ways. And I think language, Cree, Beaver, anywhere, English, all kinds of language is important to embrace. Kids are really easy to teach. You know, my little cousins there, I teach them all the time, every time I see them. Just one word, Jahanaje. Every time I see them, I say that. And now they're saying it. So, you know what? We just need to take action on every word. And if you are interested in language, talk to some of the people that, or you know that are good speakers. And say, hey, you know what? I want to apprentice under you. There's nothing wrong with not knowing. You know, and we want to encourage that. Technology is another important thing that I really think that will help us cross boundaries and nations and different things. We can share a lot through technology with us, with each other. Inspiration is really about multiple perspectives. The more perspectives we have, the better we can see other things. With that, I want to share something with you. Every time I think about language, I think about my mentor, Kwame Itachi. You know, if he was here, he would be just smiling. He said, "This is a good-looking day," and keep on going. That's what he would say to us all the time. Whenever we do cultural things, I always think about, even last night, I was thinking about him. And I'm sure he's smiling down on us, practicing our culture. One of the things that really we did with technology is we record as much as we can. Every chance you get, record, especially the elders, the young people. You know, get some of those young people involved in recording, because they all got iPhones, they all got phones. Just tell them to record stuff. Every time they do something, record it. So we were so glad that we did. Actually, we're one of the most recorded visualization community around, and I think of. In 1964, there was an individual named Robert Riddington. Him and his buddies from the United States came in 1964. They decided to go back to the land, and become more in touch with nature. So they came up, and a little car, when they heard about the highway being built, came up and I think it's around the Stickney Chief, that's where they ended up, about 10 miles off the highway. So there they were building their log house, and all of a sudden, a bunch of Indians on horses came into their camp. So when he told me that story, I said, "That's like dances with wolves." So anyways, they were wondering what these white guys doing way in the middle of nowhere here. So they started talking, and they were trying to open up this can of tuna. But their can opener didn't work. They used it all up, it was all not working properly, so they were struggling with it. So they were laughing at them and said, "Well, why do you want to do that when there's fish in the creek?" So not very long, they found out that Robin and his friends were very hungry. So then one of the leaders, I don't know who it was, but they talked amongst themselves, and one of the young guys took off into the bush, and a few minutes later, bang! Half an hour later, he's coming back with a deer on his horse and dropped it off, and they start skinning it, and they build a fire, and they cook it. Start cooking the meal. What Robin said is that he was totally blown away and impressed by these Tanzar hunters, or beaver hunters. And he said, they were just showing me who was the boss. They knew the land. They knew how to be able to harvest anytime they want. And that led to the treaty. And it was interesting, we talk about language. I don't know, have you ever heard of Beaver English? Beaver English is, there was a guy named Charlie Landy, or was one of the guys who talked. It was recorded actually by Robin, and he was talking about, oh, you know, that white man, he he can't just about cry. He said, come over and over. He said, sign, sign, sign. And we say, no, 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 no. But this went on for a long, long time, and he said, him just about cry. And finally we say, okay, we hunt anytime? Yes, yeah, we can hunt anytime. Okay, we sign treaty now. So a little bit of Beaver English, you know, him cry, just about cry. It was funny, and then one of the other guys, he said, oh yeah, me drumming hard, me drum songs, everybody laugh, everybody dance. They throw money from my feet, me sing some more. So, Tommy says, we were so lucky to record this live with this videotape. It's a long one, I'm just going to read a small piece of it. But this is how we use technology. I just wanted to share this tool with you, that we are doing as much as we can, recording people. And so this was a really important thing. And he said, Tommy Apache, when I'm gone. Because he already knew that his time was coming. He said, when I'm gone, today was old people. They tell me the story about the future. Today they tell the story about the prophets bringing from heaven. Prophets said, people say that prophets make the world real good. They straighten out everything in this world. So what does that mean when you say they straighten out everything in this world? Well, when we dance together like last night and today, when we straighten out things, we put things together, that's when we're talking about connection, putting things together in the right way with ceremony. All the prophets are the same as all the people in this world. But when God took their dreams, God told them what's going to happen in the future. God told them this in their dream. God knew that they had dreams, and when a person dies after a couple of days, the prophets know about them, where they are going after their death. God gave them the songs. These songs, God gave them in their dreams. Every one of these prophets, their songs are different. All these songs come from a very beautiful, plain place. They get their songs through their dreams. To me, that is the most powerful discussion about the idea that if you were clean, they talk about being clean. Okay, what does that mean, being clean? It's that we go to Kema. That's why they always say go to Kema. That's why yesterday we showed you our spot there. What do they talk about being clean is really about your environment. If your environment is cluttered with junk and everything like that, you can't think clearly. If your mind is full of hatred and thinking bad ways about people, you're not clean. So as we get closer and deeper into some of these dreamers and prophets and wise people, we dig into those words and say what they really mean and what they're trying to tell us. Those are the kind of things technology can help us. Record it, document it, translate it. There's a job for everybody. I really believe that there's a job for everybody in cultural work. Everybody at a different level can be able to participate. And this is what we like everyone to do. Don't count on everybody in the world. That happens around here quite a bit too. You know, one or two people taking the lead all the time and doing the work. That's not community. We need everybody to be involved. Wherever you are, stand up and say, okay, I'll do this part. Even the celebration of putting this together. Cease, and who's your team there? Maybe we should introduce your team there, Cease. Come on up and say a few words on that. Like, who are they? Said, come on, let's bring them up here and show our people that we work together with everyone. Everybody's just kind of sheepish. Come on, you guys. We gotta honor people here. Wade Waltersberger, there he is, there, ladies and gentlemen. He works for Ushon Development.
So there was Shirley, Annie, Lorraine, Amber, and myself who did the setup and put all the bags together. Unfortunately, I really want to acknowledge Amber Atachi. She's the one that organized most of this conference. this workshop. She's the one who sent out emails. She's the one who did soliciting also of funding, and she did a lot of work around this. All I did was give her some guidance because she had never done this type of thing before. And unfortunately, Amber is not well today, so she's not here. She was here yesterday, but I just really want to acknowledge her and say thank you.
The main thing for us is to encourage those that step up to the plate. That's number one thing. Those are the tools. Give them the tools and say, okay. Even yesterday, last night, you know what, the big applause by these two young boys dancing. That was so beautiful, and I love the way you guys, all of a sudden, everybody clapped for them. That's one of the big things that is a barrier. One of the things that I hear a lot about people that want to speak the language is that people make fun of them. Okay, why is that? Well, for some reason, like Kathy mentioned, it was shameful to be Indian one time. It was shameful to speak your language. Yeah, we still feel that colonialization effect, but we're going to break that. We're going to break that barrier, because it's not shame to learn and share the way you speak. So we got to look at those barriers and say, okay, how are we going to stop that? And then call it. So one of the tools definitely is languages and multiple ways of doing this. Those of you that are interested, about 15 years ago, we did this, the first time we actually did the language in 2003, we did Virtual Museum of Canada. So it is available. It's one of the best politics or graphic award internationally. As a community-driven project where the language, land, videos, stories, all that are put into a whole storytelling concept. It's on Virtual Museum of Canada. So if you go to Virtual Museum of Canada and you put in Doigra First Nations as a community exhibit, you will open up a whole different world here. So that's one of the things that, especially in Beaver Nation, look into that, the Digital Virtual Museum of Canada, and then if we got contact with you guys, we'll send you that data, that information. So that's some really good language things, because the language people, believe in them, they did an amazing job of actually translating the actual word-to-word with Beaver and English. Another tool is business. We're going to talk about business here, because yesterday we mentioned the idea about nowadays, you know what, we can't do anything without money. And we need to talk about it, and how we're going to do it, how are we going to manage it, and then what are we going to do to work together. So to open that conversation up, we want Charlene, Chief from Ward Nelson, to begin to talk about how to look at the treaty and what are we going to do about business.
When I think about before first contact, I think about how our people used to survive, how we used to travel our economic routes and our trails and trade with each other, how we used to harvest our seasonal rounds and then come back together in gatherings like this. You don't get married. Those kind of things, share your loose meat for different things and whatnot, your beads and your tools, do a trade. Then what happened is we had all these newcomers, and we started this relationship with peace and treaty. Well, I just had an experience probably about 2 weeks ago where I had a former non-Indigenous leader come up to me and say, oh, I've been really wanting to talk to somebody. And I'm like, oh, what about that? What's going on? And he's like, well, it's just at Stanley Park on the train, and I got in a fight with the train operator. I said, what you guys getting a fight about? Oh, we got in a fight about treaty. And I'm like, okay, 2 non-Indigenous people fighting about treaty, this is great. So what did you guys talk about? And he said, well, she was telling me there's no treaties in BC. And so we thought about that, and I was telling her, no, I'm from Fort Nelson, there's Treaty 8, and there's all these other nations around Fort St. John, Tuskegee, Dawson Creek, Chetwood. Those are Treaty 8. No, they're not. Yes, they are. So they went back and forth. And he was telling me how he was telling her about Treaty 8 and Cede and Surrender. And so then we got into a topic about how that's not what had happened. We talked about a little bit about our history and how we have to stop thinking that way. Because when I think of treaty, we're all treaty partners, whether you're Indigenous or not. And that's why talking about treaty and understanding treaty and bringing those learnings to our kids is so important. So we understand of how we're working together to create the environment that we want to live in together as a community. How people can understand who we were before first contact, and we can go back to that. We can go back to, trading and exchanging money, and we know that's how we operate in this time. So what happened is he went on his way and I went on our way, and I said, that's what needs to change. We need to start thinking that way. And he just kind of went on and didn't want to hear it. So that's where we come into economics and how do we incorporate that in what we do. And so one of the things that I've heard, I think Curtis has said it before, and I know that Gary has said it before about Clarence Louis. And what Clarence Louis says is, if you want to save your language, if you want to save your culture, if you want to save your identity, then get rich. But if you want to lose that kind of stuff, then be poor. Because the way, I guess, he thinks is that you need resources and you need access to be able to do things. And we all know that to travel here, we didn't, just throw on our snowshoes or, got on our wagons. Like, we all know that we need resources to be able to do what we want to do on a daily basis. But we have to be able to do that in a sustainable way, where we can protect our environment, we can protect who we are and our identity, and still have places to go as Dene and Beaver people. We still want to hunt, we still want to fish, we still want to speak our language, and we still want to be Dene out on the land. So that's very important to us. So probably about a year and a half ago, I had the opportunity to become the chair of the First Nation Major Projects Coalition. And what that is a group of First Nations coming together to talk about business and putting the politics aside. We know through the years of progress that there's been many challenges and there's been many disputes about territory and shared boundaries, which really loses a lot of opportunity for us if we just fight about those things. So with the coalition, what it is we're stronger together if we work together. And so we know that we have 3 of the biggest gas plays in North America within our territory. We have the Cadova, we have the Liard, and we have the Montney. And we see what's happening out there, and we were concerned. Not that we're against industry or oil and gas, but sometimes there can be a better way to do things. And sometimes it happens just so fast where you're not able to be a part of those discussions or be that difference or that change you want to see in that process. So when the Coastal GasLink pipeline, which is currently being proposed and is going to be built, a group of nations have come together and they formed a business. And what they want to do is have an equity position into that pipeline because they know it's going to be built. They know that the right-of-way is going to go through all their communities. And the Treaty 8 nations up here are also a part of that because the gas that's going to flow through that pipeline is through the Montney. And that affects 5 Treaty 8 nations. So the coalition started by the Pacific Trails Pipeline. The Pacific Trails Pipeline was to bring gas from Prince Rupert to the Matterhorn area, or bring our gas down to that area so we could be shipped to markets. What happened at that time is the same group of nations had an opportunity to have equity into that pipeline, but no one could get along or decide whose territory was what. So they lost out on an opportunity, which could have been about $2 million that flew into their nations to build their roads, build their high schools, build their health centers, and whatnot. They wanted to be self-sufficient. And a lot of us are looking at being self-governance, making our own decisions, taking back our jurisdiction, working with our local municipalities, working with the local economy, and not only just showing up and providing labor jobs, we want to own those major infrastructures that are happening. We want to be a part of that. Because the way the nations feel, if you're a part of it, you have a say what happens to your environment. You have a say whether you do the right thing for future generations, or you do the right thing for the environment. And it's not all about profit. You can really incorporate Indigenous values into that business, and we can change the way things are done and how our resources are managed. So, because they couldn't get along the first time, they lost out on that opportunity. The markets crashed. The opportunity kind of went away. Now it's come back, and they have come together, and they're stronger now, and they're totally focusing on language, culture, bringing back the resources right to the communities, so the money is going to the communities. Now they have a stake in actually owning something, and not just sending their people to work, sometimes seasonal, and then go home and not have a job for spring breakup. They want to get out of that. They want to ensure that their young kids have opportunities to go through higher education and top up their education, because we know that the treaty promises have been broken. We know we don't get fully funded for education. We don't get fully funded for our health. And there's many things that we want to do within our communities, but we don't have access to the resources or the money. So through the coalition, what was the main challenge is getting access to capital. Being able to finance projects at over $100 million within your territory at low interest rates, so there actually is profits that come back to your community. I like what Gary had to say yesterday about maybe we need to look at the relationship with treaty again, and maybe it needs to be a business treaty. Because when we look at their timeline, and when they signed the treaty in the early 1900s, what had happened there is way before that, they had a scout that came back from the United States. And he came up here and he scouted out this area. And I learned more of this information from Cease. She said there's a really good book that we all should read. And it tells about what he wrote in that book and how our people, don't worry about them. We don't know any better. But we'll be kind to you. They'll look after you. They'll feed you. And that's the way we are as many people. We bring people in, we care for them. If they're sick, we give them medicine. We've been taught that way. I don't think we'll ever change. Because we treat people like our brothers and sisters, regardless of who you are, where you come from. That's who we've always been. So, I can't remember the name of the book, and I see Cease is not in the room, but I think we really need to find out, and I'll get her to bring that information forward. So, after they realized that we were heavy in resources, we have mining, we have oil and gas, we have water, we have everything. They wanted to make sure that we signed these treaties so they would have access. And that's exactly what happened. And we need to go backwards. And we need to correct that in a respectful way, because that's the way we always done business, is respectfully. But in a way that our values are incorporated, our culture is incorporated, and our language is incorporated. The last thing that, when I brought this topic up at the meeting with the coalition, there was a lot of concerns. It's a scary, scary topic. But I reminded them about when the First Nation Health Authority was going to take over health in BC. And at that time, I just got on council. I worked closely with Kathy. She was our chief. And it was scary to me. It was so scary to me to think that we, as Indigenous people, were going to take over all the healthcare. And look how far we've come. You know, there's challenges and there's obstacles along the way. But by meeting and getting together, we're making headway with healthcare. And we got lots more people, of our own people, working in that system and providing that service to our nations internally, on the reserve, in our community. It's so amazing to come to these communities and see people's health centers now, see their schools being built, the beautiful church. The elder was telling me about it yesterday. $3.5 million to build that church. And she was so proud that they're going to be building an infrastructure here worth another $5 million. We can't do that alone. And we know that we can't continue this path by federal grants and federal contributions. It's not going to get us where we need to be and not going to get us to where we want to be. So I just wanted to open up a conversation about economic roots. What do you guys see going forward? One thing that I would like to see is Treaty 8 getting together and talking about opening up our boundaries. I don't see why my brothers and sisters from Beaver First Nation or Roig River First Nation shouldn't have the same opportunity that the non-Indigenous community and people from other countries come in. They start up businesses, they start up shop in our local town, and we don't say anything. But as soon as one of our brothers and sisters show up, you know, and they're doing good, you know, it's kind of like that lateral violence and that history that we've been taught. Like, we've been taught that. We have never been like that. We've always, like, invited people in. So I just wanted to say that and get you guys to check out the website for the First Nation Major Projects Coalition. It's a non-political organization. It focuses on projects that are over $100 million happening with your territory, and we're not project specific. We just only take the mandate from the community, and it's up to the membership to decide where they want to go and what they want to explore. So, fussy.
Before we get May to come up and say his word, I've got another text from Chief Gerald Antoine. Anybody know him? Yep, somebody knows him. Must be Gary for sharing the first day of Dene gathering, as our forefathers all have done many years ago. In 1995, I stood all the back of Dene Circle as a Dene child when the Dene declared the Dene Declaration. It was an amazing assurance of how we have supported ourselves to move forward. Our Dene Declaration was shared and enlightened with other Indigenous people around the world. Our conversation needs to continue and expand this declaration. Our community have guest elders currently visiting, and we will request our prayers and thoughts are with you all. Please extend this message to the brothers and sisters we have there with you. Chief Antoine. I'm speaking with my language. I'm going to talk to you in my language. Right now, do it different. Long time ago, our ancestors, when they woke, they grew us up. They grew up us differently. The voices are good as people are talking. Speaking and teaching. People. dreamers and
over
prophets.
가져왔지.
Speak to us.
가져왔지. 아저씨 차동스가
Ever since we were small,
가져왔지.
they talked to us.
아주로 두개의 사진.
For a moment.
79.
So I'm only old 79 years old.
하베제게제 아바게제 마타세이스게야 우차.
About 90, 80 years old now here.
하가전에 타. 먼저 쳇다스피에서 사진나지.
So when I'm praying for people, maybe that's why they help me out here.
그러니까 지단의 차트에마다 대사
This prayer thing is very important.
사진지 원하시게
When we're around, we ask for help. They listen to us. They set everything up well for us. I'm speaking with that in mind.
Over 25 years ago, I got cancer. Doctor
The doctor said, "We'll come back to you." I started to really pray. I don't want that in my body anymore. Right now, I've got nothing. All my legs, they all become better now. I've got a broken leg. Even making hides and those kind of things. I pray. I speak to my children and grandchildren. He came out this. This is my land. We talked about it in all these people are working. He's speaking to our ancestors said that our ancestors came out and it's very important. People are hunting and things. They're trapping and things like this, links and things. Bear dens, wolves, coyotes. When people trap these things, they see things. I speak. When I was listening to the sheep, I come over here. I speak with people. I know about things. My relatives are here. I moved over to Blueberry.
Trap line, what that's
We bought trap line
Oh, Pink Mountain,
over the Pink Mountain area.
Veggie,
This is
bear,
the mayor, the boss woman, Lori. We bought it up then. This is beautiful over there. There's nothing left now. No more trees. We got no work for us. They don't give us any work. I tell them that so that I can teach the people. I spoke to my son. Speak to them about what I'm saying. Yeah, I speak, but then nobody's listening to me. He said. This is the future. There's water that's going to be just about gone, or they start to go.
that is some Julie wasn't some
Where I'm at, coming from my house,
that's it.
we're buying water now. We have a bad water in our community. We have to buy it. This is what the dreamer said. They prophesied about this. In the future, there will be no water. This is starting to come together now. I'm thinking about this. The old grandfather, Sakona, last dreamer. He spoke to us this. Nobody will be speaking for us. So I'm happy that they bring elders here. In our community, not many elders left. Madeline is the only one left with that old from here. And this, I'm going to ask for something. I try to do my best. Google, I make hides and things like that. There's no more moose and there's becoming less.
And
I'm so happy, it's good that you all come here. So as you listen to all the things that Grandpa said, they said that. When people come to you, eat them well. Sit down and eat something. This is what Grandpa said. Ever since he was born. It's up to us to speak and my relatives, Margaret, they speak to each other about things, how it's there's people that, like the family that follow the old ways of their grandfathers and grandmothers. You pick up the voices. You look at things. How is it going to be? If you're learning something about the paper, that this issue, do something with it. In your mouth, hold your mouth. This land, it's speaking about the land. It's very strong, very good. I told him this. Sometimes they don't listen to what I say, my voice. Not many people listen. There's people like Eddie, speaking Hebrew. His dad is speaking in Cree. That's Ronnie, my son. He's holding my voice in Cree. People speak to each other. People follow each other. And they're kind to each other. To all the young people, make sure in the future that they're taken care of. God, I pray, I ask for something. A lot of people come to us. When they leave, make sure that they leave in a good way. No sickness that are going around. kind God to us.
Ivan, like this kid.
Be happy with them and love them.
And I just thank you, Heavenly Father. I ask you to bless all my people here. Come see in the reserve here in Doyle. You bless them for their safe return home. And thank you, Lord. Amen.
All right, amen. Oh, that's so beautiful. That's the translation in action, ladies and gentlemen. I tried my best to capture everything she said, but all right. Anybody else? Ricky, you want to say something? That was so much fun, translating in real time and really paying attention to what he said and passing it on. This is what we're talking about today. Awesome. Great conversation.
Good morning. I'm from here, my mom's from here. I speak English. I don't speak Cree like my brother. I grew up with it. But anyways, I just like to say 4 words like that. I was a little scared speaking stuff like that. But anyways, you know, we as Native people, we have such a generous heart. We are real brave people and really forgiving people. Because what atrocity has been done to us, we still smile. We still, sometimes we hurt so bad, we have to go be like, joke with each other. Same like that Easter pain sometimes. You know, a lot of Native people joke with each other because it's too, if you dwell on these things that really did happen to us, we'll be dead. We'll be, why do you think people are doing alcohol, a lot of this stuff? Because it relieves some of that hurt and stuff, you know? You know, the treaty was a good intent. Native people trusted people. That's how they got harmed. White people, I'm sorry to say that, they brought the cross. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the cross, but they misrepresent God really bad. That's how Native people trusted them, because Native people are spiritual. You know, a lot of times it is sad and sometimes anger when people say, you guys don't pay tax, whatever, this kind of stuff. That's such a hogwash, you know. Where do you think they get all the resources that they're, a lot of them become billionaires and like just make up their own laws that will oppress Native people. Those court system is not for us. We have not been given a chance because a lot of words that in the past they defeated our people with, is people don't understand the way the law has been set up to oppress us, to put us down. Look at today. You go anywhere in the country, you see a rich farmer, from oil and gas, timber, all resources from this land. And our people are like, a lot of people are like in a third world country, you know? And they're begging for grants and like, you know, sometimes when there's a little job come up, you know, we're got conditions so good. They made us like into white people. A lot of people are fighting for these little jobs and stuff like that. Like it's just payments people are fighting for. While we are like I heard Native people in the past, that's about 30 years ago. A lot of these elders were like 30, 40 years ago. From what I heard from when they got together, they said this land is not for sale. That's exactly what they said. So, you know, the government taking over all this stuff, putting us on little reserves and stuff, and from there, it's like a setup so that we can be vegan, and then like, if you drink, years ago they took people to jail, and like, so they just scared the heck out of people. Like, so we're just like, we're conditioned. We can't blame our people. Today, there is a great injustice done, but the thing is, there is forgiveness. We can't just forget about the past. We have to work on it. Somebody mentioned that up here. You know, we need to like come together as one, and approach the government and, you know, the white people, because today you will see Fort St. John and area, even the farmers, like 3-4 cars, vehicles, big logging trucks, tons and just unbelievable resources we live in. But us, when we started in 1989, in Blueberry, we stood up to this pipeline, West Coast Energy, I think that's what they were then. But anyways, we told them, no, you guys can't go. We need the opportunity too. So they gave us, I forget what it was, 60 kilometers pipeline. They gave us that right away, cutting logs and stuff like that. But anyways, what happened was we got backlash. And all the industry said, oh, you guys are taking over. They really got scared, you know. I mean, like, we don't even have one equipment. We didn't have nothing, just power saws and different things. And here there's the whole area got probably over 1,000 cats that were owned by white people. And you know, and here it is, you guys gonna take over the industry. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, how are we going to take over? We had to rely on somebody to come and help us subcontract to do this work. And that's what we face today. Like, it's just, sometimes honestly, it makes me kind of sick and it makes me kind of angry. But a lot of people don't see that. It's just, reach your hand out to the white people and like government, whoever, industry. If you're brown nose with them, maybe you get a job, you know, kind of thing. And then our people, some people stoop that low to do that, to go against their own people, to take a little trinkets here and there. Those are not warriors. Those are chickens. You know, just like my brother said, you're an eagle. You are powerful. A lot of times, people become chickens and just agree with everything that's going on because they think that what education, the government, Ottawa is all for us. They're not for us. You know, we need to wake up. We need to look at our own resources, like a lot of you have been saying, our own native people. You know, I talked to some elders, and they know what's going on. A lot of times they've been overlooked. Even just an ordinary person got an opinion. We can't dictate to them like Hitler did. This is the way. You know, that's the way the white society treats us, like the government. You know, if we don't obey, they'll send the RCMP and say, hey, this is the law. That's not right. Because we've been through this over and over and over. So we need to start new one of these days, government to government. And you know, I mean, there's so much to say. Gary's getting up, so ready to get out of here. Hey, sorry about that, Gary. But I know you're half-blind. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Ricky. That was really, really good. I like hearing your voices about some of the frustrations that you feel. definitely a lot of people feel the same thing. You know, like there's years and years of suppression and, yeah, injustice. But you know what? We are turning that around. We are making a difference here.
See, thank you, Gary. My name is Richard Rester. I'm happy to see my council from Fort Nelson First Nation here. I'm 45 years old, work with Northern Lights College. I do community outreach and relationship building. My history actually comes from Beaver First Nation. My grandfather is Narcisse Senior Capelblanc. He had migrated from Boyer River in the 30s with my grandmother from Fort Vermilion to Fort Nelson. His father trapped north of Fort Nelson in the 1800s, so I think that's how we ended up in Fort Nelson. And it's nice to see you here. I'm happy to see you guys. Thank you, Doig, for welcoming us to your territory. With Northern Lights College, I just wanted to mention, it was mentioned earlier, it's a very positive and progressive institution that was working with Indigenous people and communities. We got an Aboriginal education department that's growing. But recently, what I want to talk to specifically is a research project that we received funding for in February. It's a funding we received under the Truth and Follow. Too close? Hey, is that loud? Is you still hear me? I can't hear myself. The Truth and Reconciliation calls to action under one of the specific calls was to provide opportunities for First Nations people to do their own research, for Indigenous people to have their own research, do our own research on ourselves. We received a small amount of funding to work with 6 communities. So right now we're in the process of trying to identify what would each community like to research. And 2 communities that I've worked with have identified language. You know, what is our nation called? We're not Fort Nelson First Nation. We are our own people. So it's under language. Another community is looking at, why did they name this mountain after this guy from England? We use this mountain. Again, it's around language. But when I was chatting with people informally, I think it goes more than just with language. It goes more, I think, in history and relationships. When Gary mentioned earlier that our ancestors used to speak more than one language, it was because we valued the relationships, I feel. We value the protocols, the customs, and the relationships with our neighbors. We had ways of respecting each other, I think, and having that ability to help each other work together. So the idea of our giving voice language research project got me thinking about listening to a couple of elders talk about life before reserve. And I think that's what really is still ringing out in my ear. What was life like before reserve for our people? And I think that's when those relationships were stronger, those relationships were valued. We needed each other, we depended on each other, we helped each other. Once we got reserves, we didn't need each other anymore. Once we got welfare, we didn't need anybody in our communities. Once we got this, now we got internet. We don't even talk to each other, we text, we don't even talk to each other. So this whole idea of how it's evolving and how it's really impacting our language, I think, is something that I want to continue the conversation with on this research project. It's not necessarily about the language itself, but I think the idea of what the root issues or our local history, our own history, has impacted our language. What were those stories like? My grandmother passed away at 109 two and a half years ago. My grandfather passed away in 1972. She never went a day without talking about my grandfather and the relationships that he had gathered to be able to travel from Boyer River to Fort Nelson and beyond. So that idea of those relationships and that ability to value the fundamental foundations that support language I think is something just to think about and consider, maybe even document and record some of the stories and the personal experiences that our people have had before we moved on to reserves. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Well, definitely one of the things we want to research is what is the new alternatives for our business? What kind of things can we do? So for example, if we take the treaty, we flip it around, we're going to say, as long as the sun shines, we can get solar energy. As long as the water flows, we'll have clean water for us and do business with. As long as the grass grows, we will be in the environmental business. We will take care of the environment. That's the kind of research that needs to be done, requires the best practices all over the world. There's people out there in the world right now that are doing some amazing things. We need to research what are the best practices and then implement them in our own community. That is the main thing that I'd like to see all of everybody start thinking about the future. If we listen to the dreamers, we are descendants of those very dreamers that talk about Yiples and Yahoo Chick. We think about it. And all the elders, even in our own community, always talk about that. Yiples and Yahoo Chick. How is it going to be in the future? What are we going to take when we move camp? When people move camp, you know, they take the best things possible and you gotta be flexible. A hunter does not go around being warrior type. A hunter is a very strategic person. As soon as the wind changes, he has to change his thinking too. And we need to adopt those kind of principles of our ancestors, that they're just like willows, and when the wind blows, they're going to change around. And we've been doing that for years, and now we've got to do it a lot faster because we have technology. So with that, I want to bring Charlie back here.
I would just like to thank everyone that has shared their voice in the last couple of days. It's really brought things in perspective, and just hearing from our elders and our leaders and our members, it's been amazing. So words are sticking in my mind and the wheels are starting to turn. And this morning, when Gary opened up, he said, we needed to prepare to go to the meeting in October, the unification meeting. So we as Dene know what we're doing and what our message is. So that stuck with me. And then he said the word declaration. Well, I went over and sat with Cassie, and when he said declaration, and our brains started going, and you know, we went and looked at, shared it with council, and got their blessing, because I think these words that are put down on this paper bring us all together. And this is to be a living document where we can work here together to update it so that it's final, and this is what we propose when we go. And we can make any changes that we see fit. So it's just a suggestion, and I'll read it out to you guys. We, as Northern Dene, declare to work together. In spirit of our shared and common history, remembering and honoring all our ancestors, and continuing our traditional ways of language, culture, economic systems, laws, and incorporating them into a modern-day society. And implementing this in a respectful and collaborative way with each other and settlers. We are stronger together. We need to break out of ways of doing things that are not our ways. We'll move together to prosperity, health, stronger people, stronger nations, stronger municipalities, and stronger communities this day forward. Masi.
Definitely a time for this declaration. I'm going to apply that. Somebody wants to.
Would you have that declaration written in Beaver?
That would be great. So we need the translators to do that. Absolutely. We will type it up and we'll get the translators to do it and send it out to you guys. How's that? We'll do it in Beaver. So if anybody wants to challenge and say it in Beaver?
que toca la
6월 7일 날 declaration 加我记得，当年是哪几个的？
Kita not allowed like all blind people everywhere I go, they all stick together like one.
That we want it.
They work together, you know, like if they're good, documentary, story, everything. We learn from each other. I learned from all people. I learned from, you know, even a couple of words, somebody said, a couple of words, take a bottle, next time, oh, this is a good word. You know, something like that. There was one time I was very, very young, a long time.
That we want it. Just that
Okay, well, take a document. Next year, July 1, the next year, I don't want it. I still want it. Wow. And next year is a moon. I'm a lot of things. I want to have on the last thing on the figure of the woods on taking some material, you hear what you found. In the woods, speaking. He said, I'll speak to you, kid, I want to die. The woods, I don't know what it is. What's the thought on a lot of what I video, what I said about on the table, I just saw it. This idea, but this is not project. She who someone that I did. She was not there, but this is not yet changes. I don't say how he is. If I can put that case as well. I don't want to say anything. And I think it's go out there, say you are. It's on the several people. I say, can't get what they will never forget. Somebody, I thought it was a lot of things I said, okay, I used to come to yes, there's on that market. Go out there, give her a car, you are to the law garden, to okay. Just like there, he was born out of who we found, on our back of us. I grew up, but I found out. I feel like that. Because I know what I said, not see. I don't like that. Well, I'll take the southern good pictures. I'll talk to them. residential schools on a bar. On the planning and day school come on. At the day, they back to being family school.
Well, there's a lot of things Billy said, and I just can't translate it all, but summarizing it, what he said, in the past, you watched the people, all the ladies used to come together, and they watch you, if somebody's making a hide or something like that, they come together and immediately help each other. Same thing with the men, they come and help each other out if somebody is doing something. So over the years, those are the kind of teachings that we have of our Beaver Way, anyway, is that we need to use those things. So we went through a lot of things like residential school, day schools, and all the different things you heard. However, now we're coming full circle to reteach the Beaver language, the Dene way thinking is going to come back strong. So all of you gotta stand up, do something, even if it's a little thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want you to reach out to in your community all the artists. The artists are the ones that are special people in your community. Get them involved. The drum makers, the plant people that go and collect plants, the hunters, the people that make these camps. All these pieces are what makes Dene people, and we need to reach out to them and give them the support. We listen to the elders a lot about when we want to do something. We go to them and say, okay, we're thinking about this, what do you guys think? They give us ideas. And then, of course, we reach out to Monias to help us out if we don't have the skills. Like over there, Patrick, he's Monia, French guy, he helps us a lot with technology because he's good at it. We need to be able to expand the idea that it's not, we don't know everything. We just know a little bit. And when we reach out to other people that have skills, we then have power, we have foundation. The chief talked about the idea that, yes, we see a lot of things going on in our community, and we don't have anything to do it, and then we give a rule of it. But you know what? That's the past. The future is that we are going to stand up to that. We're going to set it with a business plan, and we're going to do business. For example, first time in the northern BC, we're going to have urban reserve. That is amazing accomplishment in a short time. To all of a sudden now be right in the hub of the business, and we're going to do business with people. We want everybody to be part of that. The Northern Dene gathering, we need to kind of summarize this because council has said, okay, we need to end earlier today because people got to travel. So we want to kind of start to really bring this together and say, how are we going to present ourselves? Yesterday, last night when I was, we were drumming and dancing, I think one of the big things that really represents who we are as many people is our clothing that we wear. This is a challenge to all the people. Let's dress up for the international gathering. Let's put on our best beaded work, moosai jacket and pants and our clothes, and show the world who we are as many. And then all the drummers will come together. And when we open up and walk into that arena, they're gonna hear our voices. I just get the chills when I'm thinking about that now. How beautiful it's going to be. What do you guys think about that? Huh? Okay, we're gonna take a break here. I guess you're gonna be meeting the elders outside, eh?
Yeah, we want to keep the elders outside. Thank you. Today, people wanted to do research on Aboriginal people. They go to the library or they go look for books that was written 1800 or 1900 books. They go by them. And Robin came here and read it, and that's 60. He did a lot of recording. It was reel to reel. You remember it was reel to reel tape recorder. The elders told us, don't tell them everything. Just tell them certain things. Because a lot of things we can't tell him, and he might write it differently. And that's how it is today. We have people working on that create tar. They want to do some studies. They go to the library and check out a book that was written in 1910 or 20. They go by them. But we want to go back beyond us. Our own book. That's what we try to work on. We want to go back before the white people came. How do we live that time? Where do we get close to that time? Who feed us? That's what we want to focus on. And there's a lady here, one of the former leaders, chiefs that let's talk about treaty, our treaty. We're losing our treaty. We already lose some of the bad members on not status already in there. The last few months we talk about what it's going to look like in 50 years after reserve. Somebody said it'll be like a colony, non-status, maybe. I think that's where we're headed. We need to fight back. We shouldn't lose our rights. It says there, as long as the sun shines, the river runs. You will never lose your rights. We signed treaty 119 years ago, May 30. Just last, not too long, 119 years ago. We lost lots. We lost a lot of lands in the last over 100 years. And looks like we're going to lose our rights too. Maybe in the future we have to pay for our hunting license or trapping license for hunting and trapping. I don't think that's right. We should have the rights as long as the river runs. That's what comes up. That's what I believe. I don't know how. But we'll talk about Afghans and hospitals later on. But leave the elders outside the tent. There's a soup ready, and bannock food. So elders must go over there. Oh, let's just pray now. On top, we will try on the Lord. Just thank you. We just pray for those that are sick. We ask for healing, you, Lord. God, we humble before you. Thank you. Thank you for this good mercy to our Father. In Jesus' name we pray.
Visiting elders, please come out, go outside. There's bannock and soup for you. Come on up, and there's food here for the rest of the people here. Special food for the elders.